So Paul's entire life, I believe since he was born, or maybe before he was born, possibly, he was dramatic before. And I don't mean dramatic in the vandalizing, destroying things sort of way, but in the everything is always amazing. Every step of Paul's life, it was the most amazing time ever. And sometimes it can be on the, I'm a little upset because this thing has happened to me, I'm in 8th grade and this girlfriend won't talk to me anymore. There's that side. But then there's the, wow, this is the most amazing room, the most amazing home, the most amazing neighborhood, state, country, world. So that's been Paul ever since I've known him. So a few stories on that. So when he was an infant, I believe, he was crawling, and he just learned to crawl, and my parents were there, and there was a lake. Just a random lake. And he started to crawl into the lake. Now you'd expect normally when you're a kid you would stop when your face gets in the water. And he just kept on going. Kept on going. Wanted to make it dramatic for no particular reason. Didn't even know it yet, but it was his personality when he was still just an infant. And when he was a toddler, I believe my parents were at a track event, and there was a pot of boiling coffee. So this is part of Paul exploring, always trying to find trouble where there wasn't any. And he pulled a pot of boiling coffee off, and he was right next to my parents, and then 1 second later he had a pot of coffee. So that just still have the scar. There's a little bit of a scar. So that was the precedent for Paul's seeking drama at all turns. When we were kids, when he was a preteen, we were roommates, and my room was always of interest. So Paul was always in there exploring, borrowing things, always trying to make sure there was a little bit of extra energy in the room. And then 27 years ago today, on his 13th birthday, the Berlin Wall. And so Paul thought that was fascinating. So it was on the day he became a teenager. It was a very historic moment. Now on his 40th birthday, a different historic moment, maybe, of a different kind, and a little bit of drama. But as we continue, when he was in high school, he actually turned out, did drama, did plays, and when he was a senior, he did this social deviant experiment. One of the most awesome things I've ever seen, by a teenager. He's my little brother, so he's always trying to be the big brother, but I was so impressed by the work that he did. So he went down, I think one was in South Center, Paul, where he went there, and Paul would do a variety of things to see how would people react. And my favorite one, he filmed all this, and he shared it with me, and he shared it at school, and I know he got an A in his class. But he was standing in front of a store and was going, butterflies are coming, butterflies are coming. Paul was dancing around the store and was like, what? And people would stare and watch him and not do anything at all. It's absolutely hilarious. So his drama continued all the way through high school graduation. What do you think, Gail? Can you believe, are you like that? But for Paul, it was also the next big thing. So he went to the UW, started off there, and then his junior year did a tour at UMass. And while he was at UMass, he realized, hey, I absolutely love Seattle, I love my home, but I also love new places. And from that point forward, he really never stopped. So he was spending time at UMass, he had an internship at Disney World, that was the next best thing, to travel all over Europe, then did the Peace Corps, and while he was there, that was the best Peace Corps assignment of all. He got the first computer lab ever in the history of Tonga. Well, perhaps, maybe we'll stereo a bit. And then he traveled the world after that. So this is the part that I want to read verbatim. So while he was doing that, he wrote emails, and it was always with a lot of flowery language. I think he'd been learning vocabulary a lot while he was there. It was very entertaining, always entertaining, and it was always very passionate. Every spot that he went was the most amazing place he'd ever been. He did this for 9 months, right? 9 months after. This is still in 2002. Still 14 years from present. So these are some words you wrote. This is from Lau and Order, so he always used puns for all of his emails that he would share. May 22nd, 2002. In 13 days, I slept in 13 different beds and spent 135 hours traveling. Maybe it was 100, maybe it was 90, but it's always got to have a little bit of development. Could have been 140. It's a lot. Transporting myself from one destination to another using various travel methods. I thought I would stay put in Chiang Mai for at least a week. But now that I've heard the pie is worth checking out, I will leave for it tomorrow. I just can't stay still. I'm having too much fun. For the first time, I'm slightly concerned that returning home and pursuing any semblance of a stationary life may be somewhat challenging. So I think that set the precedent. Once he got to that end, the end of his Peace Corps assignment, that Paul would ever seek new adventures. Always drawn, and would never stop. And some people say that 40 is the end of youth. I think in the case of Paul, it's not going to stop. I mean, hopefully this is just 1/3 of his life. But I wouldn't be surprised if at 120, Paul is still going, seeking me from him. So, here's to Paul Neville, my brother. Happy 40th.